What is up guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And it's that time of year. Today we are going to sit down and we are going to talk about my predictions for the 2021 F1 season. All I ask is that you watch to the end so you know who my predicted winners are. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my new videos. And now let's just get straight on with my 2021 predictions. How this is going to work is, first of all, I'm going to give three sort of like random, bold predictions of three things which I think are going to happen, like three generic things that are going to happen in 2021. And then afterwards we're going to go through the constructors and then the drivers respectively predicting. So let's just get straight on with my three big predictions of 2021. Now then, bold prediction number one. And this is a very, very interesting one. And I feel like some of you will agree and some of you won't agree. Bold prediction number one, Daniel Ricciardo is going to win a race. Now, that's a very interesting one because McLaren were very good last year. Obviously, you know, when they had Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, they finished third. And I think the fact that they've got Daniel Ricciardo's such a high quality driver, and I really rate him. And I think that he's got a very good chance of winning a race. Especially, don't forget, if they continue to improve and develop their package, they're going to really be a force to be reckoned with. So I can't wait to see if McLaren are going to be able to win a race. I think they definitely will. I think Lando Norris is probably going to get a podium as well to add to the one he got in Austria last year, but number one is definitely Ricciardo is going to win a race. Moving on to bold prediction number two, and this is quite an interesting one again. I think Williams are going to get into Q3. Now again, that may or may not happen. But I think George Russell and Nicholas Latifi are actually two really speedy drivers. They just need a better car. Now, I don't know if you saw me reviewing the car liveries. I said the Williams was a pretty disgusting livery. I didn't really like it. However, this is about the driver performance. Russell especially, I think, has got a great chance of making it into Q3 for Williams this year. You know, think about the Styrian Grand Prix last year, that washed out qualifying. He finished P11 and only just missed out. Obviously, he made it into Q3 when he was covering for Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes for the Sakir Grand Prix. But I think for Williams, he's got a real chance, because don't forget, he's going to keep developing as a driver. He's going to keep getting faster. So, yeah, I think George Russell, Williams will get one car into Q3 at some point. And finally, bold prediction number three is regarding Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is not going to retire at the end of 2021. That is my final bold prediction. The reason I think that, well, I'm going to discuss about what I think is going to happen in the actual season of 2021, but basically, I think Hamilton is going to go a bit longer. I think regardless of what happens this year, he wants to try and obviously get the outright record of number of World Championships. Obviously, we've said the regulation changes are coming big for next year, so if Mercedes do end up getting nerfed, then I feel like he might pack it in at the end of next year. I think he might just wait a bit longer to see how Mercedes are going to end up at the end of the pecking order after the 2022 regulations have taken effect. So now you can see my three bold predictions for 2021 up on screen. You can pause if you just want to confirm them, but now we're going to move on to my constructors predictions for 2021. Now this is a very, very interesting one. Starting in 10th place, we have the team who were taken over, obviously, by the Mazepins, who offered their financial support. It is, of course, Haas. Now, why are Haas going to be the worst team in 2021? Well, it's quite simple. Their car is diabolical. I'll be honest, it's not very good. You can see it coming up on screen now. There it is. Mick Schumacher, who's obviously in that picture, is a really quality driver. He was obviously F2 champion in 2020. He's a really good driver. And Nikita Mazepin, well, you know, he's a rookie alongside Schumacher, but let's be honest, he effectively bought his way into the team, didn't he? But anyway, Haas are going to struggle, and Gunter Steiner has already said on numerous occasions that they're going to focus on trying to protect points, just trying to, you know, protect their car for the 2022 regulations. They're not going to focus on improving their car this year, hence why I think Haas are just going to be so far off everybody else in terms of development. Their car is going to be slow, and for me, they are going to be the worst team in this season. Moving on to 9th place, we have Williams. That's a fairly predictable one. Williams, I think they're going to score a few points this year. I've just been saying, you know, George Russell, Nicholas Latifi. They're both pretty speedy drivers. They have a great racing brain. I think their car is going to be slowly developing. They're going to be outperforming Haas in just about every department. And I think Williams are going to get the odd point this year. I think they're going to break the duck of last year where they failed to score any points. And for me, they are hopefully on the up again. So Russell and Latifi, they're going to score a couple of points between them, but Russell especially may even make it into Q3. So Williams are going to be 9th this season, I think. Moving on to 8th, and I think it's quite obvious who I'm going to say. It is indeed Alfa Romeo, who, might I say, have a stunning car for 2021. Raikkonen's career is obviously just never ending, and Giovinazzi again is actually quite a speedy driver. Like, he just needs a quick car, you know, maybe even he could be a Ferrari driver in the future. I mean, you know, this was quite an obvious one. They're going to score a few points, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, with the car they have, they're not going to be challenging for midfield anytime soon. So I just think it's going to be a same old season for Alfa Romeo, and that's just about all I have to say for them, really. Now let's move on to 7th place. Next up in 7th, I think you all know who I'm going to say. It is indeed Alpha Tauri. Now, Pierre Gasly and obviously his partnering rookie Yuki Tsunoda this year due to Danny Kvyat being dropped. I think that's a great pairing. You know, the signs we've seen from testing, the Alpha Tauri is looking okay this year. And, you know, those guys will definitely be challenging for points more often. Obviously, we can't expect another win from the team this year, but they're going to be firmly in the midfield mix. That's for sure. But at the end of the day, I think they are just narrowly going to miss out on a spot in the top 6. So unfortunately for Alpha Tauri, they've got a great team, but again, they're going to have to settle for 7th. In 6th place, we have Alpine, my personal favourite car livery of 2021. The car coming up in a minute. You'll see how beautiful it is now. But anyway, driver lineup of Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon. Now, on paper, that's a really good lineup. Alonso obviously returning to F1 after a couple of years away, doing racing in America. And obviously Esteban Ocon back in the seat for a 2nd season. After, you know, returning to Formula 1 last year with Renault. He was monstered in every department by Ricciardo, and that's where Alpine are going to struggle. I think they're going to miss Ricciardo's services. However, Ocon did come on strong at the end of the season, you know, with a few decent points finishes and obviously a podium at Sakhir. However, the one reason why Alpine are going to get marked down is I don't think Alonso and Ocon are going to get on. I think they might crash a lot. I don't, you know, and I think the fact that their car's going to be there, I think no question, but I just think they're going to be lacking a bit of stuff in the final product, which is going to let them down and drag them down, which is a shame. But I think Alpine are going to lose out to some of their midfield rivals this year for the reasons we've discussed. And in 5th place, I'm going for Ferrari. I'm pretty sure a lot of you would have guessed that one. I think Ferrari are definitely going to do much better than they did last year. That much is concerned. But unfortunately, even with the new power unit, the changes they've made over winter, even bringing in, you know, Carlos Sainz, you know, alongside Charles Leclerc, that's still really quality driver lineup. I just think the car is still going to be poor. And, you know, they're still going to be battling in the midfield. However, I think they will score a few more podiums than they did last year. But apart from that, unfortunately, I think it's just going to be a season of the same of 2020 for Ferrari, but they will definitely do a bit better, especially with a quality driver lineup that they have in 2021. Next up, in 4th place, we have Aston Martin. Now, I think quite a lot of people saw this one coming again, now that, you know, I've revealed my sort of bottom 5. But Aston Martin, they've got a good lineup. You know, Stroll is a promising young driver, and obviously 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel, and I hope, for God, that Vettel finds his old form and at least does better than last year. I'd love to see him, you know, getting podiums here and there, you know, and scoring points. And I want to see him, you know, potentially even in the fight for 4th in the Drivers' Championship, because, you know, he's a really, really world-class driver on his day. He still is. He just needs a new environment, and he might have found it. Here he is on screen now. But yeah, and I think Aston Martin are going to have a great season, similar to the last season they had with Racing Point, and they're going to still be, you know, in that midfield battle, you know, against, you know, the other teams who they were with last year, McLaren, Ferrari, Alfa Tauri, Alpine, and it's all going to be very close. But I think Aston Martin are going to be 4th, and they're going to have a great season. So 4th for them in 2021. Now, moving on to third place, and this is quite obvious, we're going with McLaren, because McLaren are going to have a great season. I said earlier that I predicted Daniel Ricciardo's going to win a race. I said Lando Norris is also very likely to add to his podiums that, he attained at Austria last year. And I think if McLaren just improved their reliability, they could even be challenging the top two. Yeah, so I think McLaren are in for a great season. I think they'll be more comfortable third with the experience of Ricciardo. They'll do even better possibly than they did, when they were with Sainz. And, I think McLaren again are going to be in for another fantastic year. They're going to be relatively comfortably third. I don't think it'll come down to the final race. But even so, they are going to be spending a lot of their time fighting against teams like Alfa Tauri, Ferrari, Alpine and Aston Martin. But even so, I think McLaren are going to come out on top out of all of them, and I think they're going to finish with a very solid third this season. In second place, we're going for Mercedes. No, I'm kidding. Did you really think I was going to put Mercedes second? Anyway, in second place, we're going for Red Bull. Proudly showcasing on screen now, the RB16B. But anyway, Red Bull, this is an obvious one. Max Verstappen again is just going to continue to be the chief Mercedes chaser. I think if you ask me, there's not going to be much difference. Perez is going to do well. I think he will be a nice asset. I think he'll do better than Alex Albon did. And Perez will still finish in the top 5 in the driver standings. But it's not going to be much of a different season for Red Bull. They're just going to be chasing Mercedes, I guess. However, I'm pretty sure Red Bull are going to continue to try and get more wins, more poles, more podiums, and they will definitely be closer to Mercedes this season, I think. And Constructors' Champions 2021 will be Mercedes. Yawn, yawn, yawn. Who saw that coming? But yeah, I don't really need to explain why Mercedes are going to be so good, why they're going to be at the top. I think they're just going to be as invincible as last year, just as hard to catch, and they're just going to be in a league of their own, and their drivers are just going to be miles ahead of everyone else, basically. So yeah, anyway, I don't have anything else to say about Mercedes, really. It's just obvious they're going to be the best, so I'll end today's video there. Thank you very much for watching part 1 of my F1 2021 predictions. Part 2 will be uploaded in a few days, and that's where I'll be doing my driver predictions. I just don't want to make this video too long, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and join my Discord server, and until next time, goodbye.